Sure. So, like it happens with most internships, the intern is made to just stay and observe all the departments, which I was very fortunate to have got an opportunity to do. So, right from the ad film production house, getting the script from the agency to the pre-production, the shoot, and the post, I was made to just stay and observe each and every department of how the ad film was made. Uh, During post production, I was just made to stay, sit behind the editor and see what the editor does on the job and make sure that he's not falling asleep on the job. So I was just sitting behind and observing what he's doing. And that is somewhere where I think the entire interest kind of kicked in, where I saw something very fascinating happening. Just putting together the entire ad film on a timeline and then eventually seeing the output come to life. It really fascinated me. So I kind of thought that why not give this a shot? Maybe this is my calling. So I started looking for opportunities to assist an editor. So the idea obviously back then was to try and assist an editor who edits full-length feature films. So I was looking for jobs, and by God's grace and by my great fortune, I met Mr. Aditya Warrior, who's been my friend, philosopher, guide, mentor, and everything in between. And he took me under his wings. He had just about started this agency. Back then, we were called Maitri Aditya Warrior Productions. Now we are called Warriors Ttouch. So I joined the agency 7 years ago as an assistant editor to him. And today I am heading the visual promotions department in the agency. So it's been a journey of 7 years and around 55 films or web series put together. So our job is basically to make all the audio visual promos for a film or a web series that you see before the series comes out. So it starts up from your teaser, a trailer. If the film has songs, so then there are those song promos, all the television spots or the digital spots nowadays that you see on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube are all made by us. So it involves the editing of these promos, the packaging for it, and the final delivery. So I think the few key ingredients that one needs to take care of is, first things first, be true to the film or the series or whatever you're making the trailer for. Try and stick to the essential soul of the film. It's very important to capture that in your trailer, because at the end of the day, that is what the audience is going to get attracted to. That is what the audience is going to see and eventually come and see that in the theater or on your OTT platforms now as well. But that's what they're going to be looking for. Another very important element is, which I strongly believe is a key element which a lot of people tend to forget, is sound. Because even the medium is called audio visual. Audio comes before. A lot of people kind of just believe in good looking visuals, great looking actors, the performances, etc., etc., and then they forget the sound aspect of it. A good sound design trailer is very, very important. Then it also comes to the essential question, because generally I use this very often, where I say our dilemma is like Hamlet, it's like to reveal or not to reveal. And that's very important. A lot of people ask me very often as to how do you come to the conclusion as to, okay, this is the amount of material I'm going to put out and this is how much I'm going to hold back. And that only comes from experience. That only comes from understanding exactly how much you want to intrigue the audience enough, and then how much you want to hold back, so that the audience also has to look forward to seeing something more than what is in the trailer. If you give out everything in the first go itself, then there's nothing really remaining for them to eventually come and see. And I think it's very important to be very clear with your communication. The 2.5 minutes that you're putting out as a trailer, I treat it like a film in itself. So I'm looking at it from a point of view that, okay, there's an act 1, there's an act 2, there is obviously the midpoint, and then there's a conclusion, like every film, like the fundamentals of writing a film. And it's very important to be clear with whatever communication you're making. Intrigue is important. Confusion is terrible. You cannot leave the audience confused. Correct. So we get the material at different stages depending upon when the producer or the filmmaker wants to start making his trailer. So it could either be at the stage when the first cut of the film is ready. Once the lineup is ready, we get the material and then we start working. or it could even be when the film is completed, the DI, the sound, and everything is done, and then eventually the producer or the director says we are ready for release, so now let's start making the trailer. As far as the brief is concerned, we do get a brief sometimes, but like I said, which is the only brief that we expect from the producers or the marketing heads are basically as to what communication you're trying to make. And then we kind of give it our own take, because we are, in all fairness, one of the very few first set of audiences that come in and watch the film from a very third person objective. The producer, the director, they've all lived with the film throughout the making process. So they have a kind of like a closed vision where they're looking at it from a very one-dimensional point of view, where they have a certain idea of their film in their mind. But then eventually when we come into the picture, we give it a completely different twist altogether. Yes, it happens very often. In fact, like I said, because the producer is so attached to his product, he has a certain idea in mind always, that he wants to see something happen in a particular manner. We come as a third person perspective, and then we don't feel it to be as important as possible. So, so then what happens is, they obviously, because it's the producer and we have to comply, and then what happens is we kind of do it and we show it to the producer, and then we have to put forth our point of view saying that, you know what, it doesn't work for us, but at the end of the day, it's your film, you have to take the call. It's happened very often that the producer has agreed to our decision and has agreed to our suggestion, saying that, okay, yes, you're right, it doesn't work like that. But then you also have some adamant, stubborn ones who go ahead with what they genuinely want to do, and then our decision is kind of nullified. So the evolution has been massive now. I mean, we're talking about watching trailers before in theaters to now eventually what is happening. It's a huge difference. I think YouTube may have boomed some 7-8 years ago, since when all trailers started coming out on YouTube first. There are trailer premieres which happen, there are launches which happen, there are ads in the newspapers which say trailer coming out today at 12 p.m, 4 p.m, etc., etc. So there is already a lot of anticipation. Earlier, it used to be a surprise element when you would go to watch a film in the theaters, and the first thing you would see was a censor certificate that XYZ film's trailer is playing. So it used to excite you. But now it's more of, basically, the anticipation is already created beforehand thanks to social media. And even in the last 7 years that I've been working, I've seen such a drastic change in the formats of the trailers that we do, where previously most of the promos that we would work on would come on either YouTube would be the main theatrical trailer. Then in the theaters, we would play a 90-seconder, like you're saying, and the rest of the trailers and the promos would go on television. But now, because of social media and Instagram especially, there is no money that is charged to put out your promo. You're not buying spots on television. You're not buying spots in theaters. There's no limit as to how much and what content you can put out. So it's literally become unlimited in terms of the number of promos that we're giving out. There's every day a new promo that's coming out. And not just, I mean, just to give you an example, you're talking about a 90-second trailer. We have started doing 6-second trailers now, which is called a bumper trailer, which comes as a YouTube ad before the main trailer, or it could be attached to any other YouTube video that plays. First things first, you can't skip that ad because it falls within that time duration. And then secondly, you're also trying to create an intrigue just within 6 seconds, which is a challenge in itself. You know, it can't just randomly be any 6 seconds. You have to choose the right impactful shots, maybe one powerful dialogue, and it has to be good enough that the audience should then go and watch either the main trailer or be intrigued to watch the full film.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this video, and if you like what we do, follow us on our socials and check out our other uploads.